Hello, powerful one. Welcome to this edition of Inner Growth It Says or LMA. On this particular edition, we are taking a look at the human system. One of the points we discussed in becoming a person of influence is that you should take advantage of the organizational structure. You need to know how the system within which the people you are influencing functions. If you understand the system, the do's and the don'ts, and the powerful people, the powerful organizational henchmen or henchwomen in that system, you will be able to know how to function effectively and create a seamless approach to your business and your game of influencing your team members. Because knowledge of the organization is very key to being of influence within the system. Now, we are always talking about the internal system. We are talking about making us human beings of influence, people who are influenced themselves, powerhouses of value. So, in real sense, we are infinitely resourceful. We need to understand the system, how it works, and then get the keys to unlocking the possibilities within our human system. That's what we'll be discussing in this video and in the videos to come, because we can't finish it in just one video. I am still your host, Oseizwa Anthony Elimihe, and you know me. I am in the game of helping you grow from inside out. That is the drill. We need to get to where we take our mind away from the understanding that as human beings, we are a monolithic system, that it's just us. Let me start by saying that the understanding that the human being is made up of spirit, soul, and body is a faulty understanding, because you have removed an element of the human being and doubled one element. The soul and spirit are one and the same thing. The soul is a spirit that is having an earth experience. Therefore, the human being is soul, the animals are souls, the plants are souls. They are having earth experience. Get it? And what gives life to any form that you see is spirit or soul. One and the same thing. But the human soul is the highest spirit on the planet, if not in the entire universe. Because as we have been taught in spirituality, that the human soul is the gateway to divinity. That anybody that intends to have God realization and even self-realization can only achieve that by being human. Therefore, some have said that angels, the gods, even the demons, their goal is to have a human experience, because that is where the power is, that is where the gateway is. But of course, we have never respected our humanity. Most of us have made it a duty to worship angels, to worship gods, to worship entities, because they feel that those entities are better placed than they. They are only better placed in respect of space. They are occupying planes that have more consciousness than where we are. But the truth is that they cannot upgrade their consciousness. We can. We can upgrade our consciousness even while in this body to get to their level and even ascend beyond them. That is what we are. That is the power of the human being. So when you keep hearing that human beings are next to God or whatever it's called, you begin to wonder why. Demons even have more power than human beings. Yes, they have more power, so to say, than human beings, because they occupy a higher plane. The planes that demons occupy contain more consciousness than where human beings occupy. But the demons can only become as powerful as human beings when they become humans themselves, and it is a tall order. It is not easy for even an angel or a god to become human. Talk more of a demon whose love content is far lower than that of the angels. But then, if they put in the works within their limited scope and they develop themselves, they can become humans. And A human being can rise to the level of the highest, which is Christ, which is the Christ consciousness, which is the Christ power. When you are at that level, you are one with God. It's only a human being that can get there. Angels cannot get there. The gods cannot get there. The demigods cannot get there. Even Satan cannot get there. You see, it's only us that can do it. And that is why all entities see the human being as a focal point of interest. And if all the religions will understand this, they will no longer be creating shrines and dedicating it to entities that they don't know anything about. That's why Christ will tell the Jews, ye worship what ye know not what. It's as good as that. Now, we understand that on our planets today, the worship of gods and goddesses and forces. We know that on the planet, the worship of gods, goddesses, and sundry other entities, angels, and even demons have always been the order of the day. But we know better. Those who worship nothing, they are the ones that have better advantages at rising. That is why I always say the atheists are in better positions to grow more than the religious people. Because what happens to the atheists is that they don't believe in any entity. They don't worship any entity. They are depending on their human strength. And whoever depends on their human strength actually are depending on the divine. Because in the human being is the full force of divinity staying latent. And it takes conscious desire, hunger to waken it. Okay, now, talking about this now, I'm talking spirituality, which I'm not competent to do. I'm really, these things I'm saying them because I have done some research on them, but it's not because I know them. I don't know these. Let's go to areas that I know where I have practical experiences. You have the soul, which is the real being, which is the real entity that is on a mission right here on the earth plane or in the physical universe. That's one. Then two, you have the mind. The mind is the gateway, the portal, the machine, the operator, so to say, the supercomputer that is the gateway between the spirit and the physical universe, and between the physical universe and the spirit plane. The mind is not spirit, so to say, but it mediates between spirit and matter. Therefore, mind can be seen as an advanced matter, subtle matter, and it is the king of the physical realm. So if the soul is on a mission on the physical plane where the mind is king, you know what that means? Good. Now, because soul is higher than mind, but mind is the king of this space, what soul has to do to be able to succeed in this space is to do diplomacy. Very astute diplomacy with mind. Otherwise, if you use force, if you try to command mind, you can't command a man in his house. That's number one. You have to play by the rules. Therefore, the reason why you should understand the human system is very important. Then three, you have body, this physical body, physicality. That is the next one. And the final one is the environment. The environment, that is the fourth element. In every research I have made over the years, I've been very enamored by knowledge of the human system. I've never come across any material where they added the environment as part of the human system. In fact, the word human system, if I have to sound arrogant, is my coinage. And the addition of environment to the human system is something that I did. I'm not taking credit for it because I think I got it. Okay, I just got it. It got to me and I felt this is it. And I used it. And from all the researches I've done, I've seen that a majority of people understand that the human environment is very critical to the human judgments. But they have never considered the human environment as an integral part of the human system. So I brought the environment. In the environment, I will discuss in full details. I've been giving some signals about it from all the videos I've been giving. but we will discuss the environment in its own rights. So, soul, mind, body, environment. Now, where do we start from? Do we go to the soul? Now, if I were to discuss soul, I will hit a brick wall, because the concept of soul simply means I have to be discussing spirit. I have to be discussing spirituality, and I don't have the competence. Because before you talk about anything at this level of my discussion, you have to have very deep, intense, personal, practical experience of those things. I haven't experienced myself as soul yet. I'm working on it. I hope I succeed. Because when a human being, from what I have studied, experiences himself or herself as soul, he becomes a true son of God. And all things, all become possible. Even Satan bows before him. I haven't got there. So, the only thing I know is that soul is an offshoot of the source. It's like the ray of the sun. You cannot say the ray of the sun is not the sun. But you cannot say the sun belongs to the ray. The ray belongs to the sun. Just like the wave of the sea. A wave is part of the sea. The sea is not part of the wave. The sea generates the wave. So the wave is a part of the sea. In other words, the sea is the source of the wave. The sea cannot be a product of the wave. Therefore, the soul is an offshoot of the Almighty. This is the child of the source. It is immortal, it is deathless, it should worship nothing but the Almighty. Nothing else. Ignorance makes a soul worship entities and deities. The day the soul realizes herself, in mysticism or spirituality, they use the word she for soul, because the soul is female. All right, and it's considered that the Christ entity, the Christ power, is the husband of the soul. Therefore, the soul will never find peace, will never ever rest until it connects with Christ. That is the understanding we know. It is what we've been studying. Okay, now the soul is the main guy who is out here to experience, to experiment, to find out things, to grow. It has been said that the main reason the soul is here on earth is to find its way back to the source. That is the main reason. The soul cannot find her way back to the source by worshiping entities. The soul has to worship the Almighty, knowing the Almighty as the Almighty. The soul cannot even worship the Almighty in ignorance. Just because somebody is worshiping the Almighty, the soul now decides to worship the Almighty as a result. It doesn't work. The soul has to have a one-on-one relationship, a one-on-one experience of the Almighty. That is what it is. And until the soul knows, the soul should not worship. See, what about those who are worshiping deities? Of course, they can only get to the realm, to the plane that those deities belong, that those deities have at their native homes. Because the deities cannot ascend beyond their homes. By their nature, the only thing that can make the deities ascend beyond where they are is for them to become human. The only entity in the entire cosmos, in the entire universe, that can rise above all the planes of existence is the soul, the human soul. In spirituality, when they talk about evolution, we are talking about something different from the Darwinian concept of evolution. You get it? But somehow there's a little link somehow. Everything evolves from the lowest to the highest. And again, the highest is humanity. And humanity is neither male nor female. The concept of male and female is a physical thing, it's a mental thing. Beyond the mind, neither you nor I is male or female. We are just souls. The soul finds fulfillment when it merges with the Christ power. That Christ is not what some religions bandy about, carry as their private property. Christ does not belong to any religion. Christ is the express image of the Godhead, of the Almighty, the Supreme God in the bodily form. There are other Godheads that are lower, that are below, and they have their own express images. They take form and they organize religions, and people follow them, and they think that is the ultimate. Okay, people should know better. Anyway, the things I don't want to talk about, you cannot talk about soul without actually finding yourself discussing spirituality, because the soul is spirit. Therefore, anything about soul is spirit. But one thing we should understand, that the energy, the conscious, when we talk about consciousness, it is soul that is consciousness. The only difference is that soul is occupying the region of the least consciousness in the entire universe. And it is also encased with elements from the universe that are of lesser consciousness. So if you look at it this way, the physical body is from this earth. It is of a lower consciousness. And these things are exerting influences upon the soul, pulling it down. So the importance of this discussion is that we are working towards the soul becoming the one that exerts influence upon the system, not the system exerting influence upon the soul. Because when the environment, when this body, and when the mind begins to exert influence upon the soul has lost its place. It becomes a slave. It becomes a prince in exile. The day that the soul begins to exert influence upon all the elements of the lower universe, that is the day it finds liberation. Good. Now, the energy that we talk about is soul. Soul is the energy that feeds the body. There's a book written by my master. It's called Soulology. You can check it out online, from the word soul and then energy, from energy, E-R-O-G-Y, soul energy. That's soul energy. Soul is the energy that powers the entire universe. It has also been said in the mystical parlance, they call souls the seed of life. Without souls, the universe will crumble. It is the existence of the soul that keeps everything in place. So when I hear people make some noises about, anyway, let me also go there. I don't want this video to be flagged for any reason. So the understanding I'm putting across is that without soul, there is no life in the universe. It is the soul that powers the entire universe. Now, when I talk about soul, I'm not just even talking about us alone as humans or animals or plants or the ants or the insects. Because if you understand the concept of soul, you will give reverence to everything that has life, because they are also, without soul, nothing moves, nothing has life. You now say, okay, our cars are moving, our planes are moving. What is it? What do you think powers them? It is also elements of the soul. Element of the soul, but a very, 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 very weak element of the soul, which is bleed out of the soul. It is aspects, degraded form of the body that soul carries. Because whatever soul touches, it gives power to it, it gives life to it, it impregnates it with life. That's what makes the world tick. Therefore, when a human being exits this body, you see, because soul has been in this body, it is soul that tempered this body to be how it is now. When the soul leaves the body, this body contains a lot of resources that can benefit the environment. So don't just think because a soul has left the body, so this body becomes useless. No, it still powers the environment. When you get your fossil fuel, that powers industries, that powers the industrialization and all of that, it is coming from the soul. Without the soul, there is no life on this planet, in the entire universe. Now, we move on to the mind. This is where I am going to actually dwell on. Mind is the powerhouse of the physical universe. Without mind, soul cannot function here because it's an alien in this place. Soul cannot even find its foot because it cannot find a place. Because if mind is removed, detached from soul, so we go back home instantly. It will return to where it is. What pulls the soul down and keeps the soul grounded here is mind. Mind is very powerful and it contains 4 dimensions. Now, these 4 dimensions of the mind: intellect, ego, identity, and memories are the things that a human being needs to understand. I actually think that children don't have to go to school to learn this. Children should learn this from their homes. Their parents should teach them this from infancy so that they can understand their makeup. It is knowledge that should be driven from home, not school. Because when we know this, we will be able to become great people. We'll be able to become anything we want to become. Imagine me, all my life I've been dabbling, doing trial by error, doing here and there, until just about 8 years ago, I began to understand, and I didn't understand, I began to be confused. So I had to unlearn all the things I had learned, and not until 2019 or thereabout before I started catching the implication of what these things mean. And now I became very aware of the process, because the knowledge of the human system is not something you can teach by book. It won't work. You have to experience them. Even as I'm teaching you these things now, I'm mentioning these things to you. You are picking them. It might daze you if you are not aware of it. But along the line, it is one thing to know it mentally. Another thing to actually let it sink into your experience. And when it becomes a part of your experience, then you'll be able to control it. But until it gets to that level of experience, you just talk. Go and check my Facebook post from 2014-15 when I started learning all these things. It was all filled with attempts to know the unknown, which is knowable. Because knowledge of the mind is finite. You can know the mind. You can actually know the mind. What you cannot do is control the mind. You can't control a king in his kingdom. What you do to a king is persuading. Mind is king on this planet, in this universe, not just the physical. Mind is king in the universe. And those who understand spirituality know what I'm talking about. I don't want to go into all of those things. Mind is king, and you are a prince from a far country that is not a part of this known universe. You are from the unknown as so. Therefore, when you get here, you have to humble yourself. You have to toe the line. You have to walk with the laws, because mind cannot do anything without laws. Soul is above the law. Not lawless, but above the law. But it must respect the law of its environment for it to succeed. That is just how it goes. Details coming shortly. I will pick each of these elements one after the other in the next video and make sure you get to understand it. And then I will talk about the application of this knowledge and how you can use it on a daily basis to improve yourself. When you understand this thing, my friends, you will not need a prophet. You will stop running to prophets. You start running to seers, because you will realize that you are enslaving yourself even much more. Because one who has understood their mind understands spirituality. Do you know why? The Bible makes it very clear, expressly clear, in the book of Romans, chapter 12. I've been quoting this thing from time to time. You know, in verse 1, it said, present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable unto God, which is a reasonable service. He said in verse 2, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by renewing of your minds, so that you may prove that which is that good and acceptable will of God. This is it. By renewing of your mind, it simply means get your mind to speed with higher ideals. Your mind is willing. Your mind is capable of any level of expansion you want to give it. Okay? But the same mind is capable of retrogressing to the animal and sub-animal level. It's possible. It is the data that you load to the mind that determines its performance. Therefore, renewing of your mind simply means looking at the data that are not working for you, the programs that are not working for you, and you remove them. Not as if you can remove them anyway, but you demobilize them. They can be in the system, but they are no longer functioning. They are no longer collecting energy. You demobilize them, you deinstall them. That's what it is. But they are still there at the background, but you make sure that they don't have energy. That's what it's all about. Then replace them with functional and conscious data that you have consciously acquired, that you have defined as those which are necessary for the life that you have chosen for yourself. You have to consciously choose a life and then pick an appropriate set of data that can run that life. That is what mind management is all about. And that's why the scripture says, renew your mind. A human being that has not renewed their mind are not even in charge of their lives. Because when you have renewed your mind, then you can then face spirituality and do it right. But now what people are doing is that they are not doing spirituality. What they are doing is that they are running after material things in the name of spirituality. What are these material things? They want wealth. They want, okay, let's use the word, they want prosperity in the material sense of the word. They want to have good husbands, good wives. They want to have children. They want to have houses. They want to be free from sicknesses. All of these things are material elements of existence. And it has nothing to do with the spirit. Spirit is not bothered about all those things because they don't help him in any way. In fact, these are the things that even clog the spirit more. But for you and me, we are still interested in making our lives better here so that we can have the latitude to focus on the spiritual. Because physically here, you have to pay your karma. Don't worry. As you go on this channel, we'll discuss a lot of things. Karma will be another series we will discuss. But there are materials online you can study on karma. Pull them up and study them. But there's a trap I don't want you to fall into on karma. The idea that karma runs your life against your will is negative. It is negative mysticism. It is a lie. Every human being determines their karma. Okay? You can decide that certain karmas are no longer useful to you. You can rise above them. It is not an easy task. Oh, I'm saying it easily, but it's not easy. It is tough. Anyway, in the next video, we are going to go deep into these 4 elements and how they cohere and work together to make your life better.